have a yes. Where do we start? Start there. Okay, so this is how I'll say it tonight. So would you?
Sure. We've got Julie and Becky Frank, who just took our speech and drama team to the state tournament at Huntley Project. Both of our teams finished in second place. We have some individual state champions and duo state champions that are here tonight to share about their experience at the state meet.
Stand up.
All right. So we have right here, this is Michael Powner. And to my knowledge, he is Manhattan's first debate champion we've ever had. And over here we have Taylor Ward and Silas Partain. They are champions in Hum Theater, and to my knowledge, we haven't had a Hum Theater champion in at least 13 years. So they did. They're also divisional champions as well. So they got them both. We're missing Ethan Bryson. He's a Hum solo state champion. And again, it's been over 13 years since we've had somebody place in Hum solo humorous theater acting. And then over here we have Lizzie Brownell, and Lizzie is the first ever state champion in BC in an event called Boy. It was a brand new event, and she's the first state champion in there. And when I counted out her wins, she had 3 preseason wins too, as well. So she did a tremendous effort. Our speech team overall placed second. Our drama team placed third. We had 5 students from our speech team place in the top 8. And then we had 3 students who qualified for the semifinal round. In drama, we had 9 students place and 5 semifinalists. So it was a fabulous year.
Do you have any other students here today, other than just these champions? Do you have others that were participating?
We do not, but we do have a parent.
Anything else that, should we make one of the students give one of their presents?
I agree.
I know.
Michael's here.
I know who I pick on because I was kind of bullied about bringing donuts. I broke by my granddaughter. So
Donuts are a serious thing on the speech team. It's a form of currency. Like, exchange donuts for things.
anyone else have any questions for the speech or debate teams?
What was the event that Ms. Brownell had? I didn't know that way. What is that?
Program oral interpretation of literature. Basically, she took 3 different pieces of literature and she wove them together to make a cohesive story. So she did 3 different fairy tales. She did like a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, a song from Beauty and the Beast, and then what's called a spoonerism, which is where they take the first letter of the first word and put it on the next word in the line and flip all the words in reverse. And she told an entire fairy tale story.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a question. And I've heard this from a lot of judges, and I was a judge at professionals, and I sit in the room with these young people, and I don't belong in that room with them. And I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. So I'm asking you guys, do you ever know others judges not know what they're doing? That you can actually hurt your scores, or because I honestly feel like, wow, these kids are amazing and I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I don't know how that.
You won't hurt his feelings.
I think the lack of response might be a yes.
Okay, but in your defense, it was the divisional tournament
And they're
where
all
they're
good.
supposed to be good. And when you did it the last time, it was the state tournament, and again, they're all really good.
So what year are your students that placed these? What, Michael, you're a senior, Lizzie? And then you,
Junior.
so you've got a basis coming back then too through. the
And
whole
then our other state champion is also a junior.
junior. Wow, good.
So you guys are gonna repeat next year. That's the plan.
They don't even have the piece they're working on. That's how dedicated they are. They had it picked out at the start of the season.
So I don't know anything about, can you describe what the other two? What
Yeah. So I'll go here first and then we'll go. into it. They do a humorous like acting sketch. So they did a piece called Alliteration, where they basically did like tongue twisters and told a whole story as a private eye detective trying to solve the case, talking in nothing but tongue twisters. It was quite hilarious. And then Michael does Lincoln Douglas debate, which is a morality debate. Michael, do you want to tell them what the topic was?
Resolved, the United States ought to become party to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and or the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Courts. That was just the January topic. We have 3 topics throughout the year: November, December, and January.
The really hard part about debate is he doesn't know which side of the resolution he's going to get until it's posted. So he has to have a case presented for the resolution and against the resolution.
Did you have to defend both sides of it?
Yes,
You did too.
at state I had 8 total rounds.
Wow, wow, that's impressive. Anyone else have any other questions? Well, I want to say as a board and a school, we're very proud of this speech and debate team. You guys fill a niche that not many people get to see, and I know it's going to serve you guys all really well as you go into the future. So once again, congratulations.
They're in my room.
Yeah, good job.
I know. Should not bring donuts for us.
Fair enough. Well, thank you all for attending. We really appreciate it.
Mr. Crocker. Yes.
So I'm a group of 5th grade leadership students that are in a club called You Matter. Miss Witten's picked that up this year and kind of steamrolled it. That's been done in the past. I'm not going to fill you in on too much more information because they're going to introduce themselves and describe what this club is about and what we're trying to accomplish in the future.
Good afternoon, members of the school board. My name is Emily Potter, and I'm a fifth grader at elementary school. With me today are 6 of my peers, all leaders of the You Matter Club, who will now introduce themselves.
I'm Jared Seeps.
I'm Benson Gross. I'm Skylar Sharon.
I'm Mallory. I'm Paisley Gutierrez. I'm Oakley.
The You Matter Club is a student-led league club that was founded in 2021 by a group of students who wanted to make a meaningful change in our school. These students believe that something needs to be done to encourage kindness and improvement. That's why the You Matter Club was born.
We believe that when students feel included and appreciated, it makes our school a stronger and more positive place for everyone. Today we'd like to tell you about some of the things we're doing in the You Matter Club and how we're helping to make our school better. One of the things we're most proud of is Thoughtful Thursday.
Every other week, students are given a challenge that encourages them to do something kind or thoughtful. For example, last week the challenge was to give 6 different people a high five, 1 student from each grade and a teacher. On average, about 20 students sign up to take part in this activity. Also, on Thoughtful Thursday, we invite students to Miss Witten's room during lunch recess, and that's where our leadership team hosts an activity where students can interact with each other. This is a great opportunity for students to get to know each other outside of their grade levels. We're proud to say that last week, 35 students attended, and on average, about 30 students join us. These activities help students feel heard, respected, and more connected to each other.
Having a leadership team will vote and elect new 4th grade leaders.
This gives our fifth grade students the chance to mentor younger students and help them feel comfortable in leadership roles as they get ready for the school year.
This not only helps to create lasting friendships, but also teaches responsibility and leadership skills, which will help make our school community even stronger.
As our club continues to grow, we're excited about one new change this year. For the first time, we had boys in the leadership role in the youth act. We're really excited to see this happen, and we hope that more boys will join the leadership team in the future. It's important that all students feel welcome to lead and be part of the youth act. Our goal is for every student to feel supported by their peers. We are working hard every day to spread the message that kindness and inclusion are important values in our school. We don't just want to make our school better today, we want to make sure that future students feel the same too. Thank you all for your time and for allowing us to continue spreading the message that you.
I want to ask one or two of you, what is the biggest change that you've seen since belonging to this club, either in you or to some of your friends? Who's got an idea? Mr. Heaps, you've got something to say.
Well, our school is like, the challenges have kind of like, and people's kind of signing up have made people like enjoy people more, and like, so like the challenges are all like hold the door open to people or like give people high fives. So like it challenges to interact with people, so that means that like they would get to know each other more.
Who else has got something to say too? Come on, one of you girls, step up.
I think it brings like a sense of community to us. One thing about this fifth grade group is like they are amazing leaders, they're great mentors. We've had 0 behavioral problems in fifth grade this year. We haven't had one behavior thing in fifth grade. So that's a spot for this group of kids, and we're excited to have a couple of boys join the group and, you know, kind of steamroll us into where we want to be as a school.
And I'm excited you're coming to the middle school, so yay.
So as you leave, there'll be a new group of fifth graders that take up this challenge next year. Is that the difference?
Yes.
Are you helping mentor them now as they in school, or is it is it strictly on their own then?
It starts and we start picking people next.
So we have a list of all the students who come to the activity and keep track. Based off of students who want to be leaders next year, we'll decide based off of what we see in the activities we think would be a good building the students.
Anyone else have any questions for these students?
Can I add a sign over just pray? So we had indoor recess here lately, so we're trying to find some different things for the fourth and fifth graders to do, because fifth graders, that's their only recess they did. So we've been doing some competitions between the fourth and fifth graders. One of our competitions was who can do the most military push-ups between. Okay, and Oakley, raise your hand. Oakley did 42 military. Beat every single boy and girl except for one fourth grade boy
Out of everybody. Well, we really appreciate you guys being here and taking charge and a leadership role in the school. We know that it'll make a difference in our school because you get the message that you matter. I really appreciate that. Thank you all for coming tonight.
So parents and students, you are welcome to go home if you like. Get up and meet. But if you stay the whole night.
Thank you, parents, too. Appreciate the parents. All right. For those individuals who intend to address the board during the public comment portion, the board chair will call on those individuals to speak. The intended purpose of the public comment segment of our agenda is for a member of the public to bring a matter to the attention of the board for the board's information and/or consideration at a later date. In general, the board is precluded from making decisions regarding public comment items since they are not specified on the agenda. In addition, the public comment section of the agenda is not a time to raise personnel issues. Therefore, I'd like to remind everyone in attendance that employee violations of individual rights or privacy of members of the public wishing to address the board during this time will not be allowed to make comments about any student, staff member, or member of the general public during their time to speak. In addition, the board will not hear comments on contested cases or other adjudicated proceedings. Also, this meeting is being recorded, both in audio and video format. Cameras and recording devices are placed in the meeting room to take recordings. Everyone is in attendance is reminded to honor basic rules of decorum during the meeting and guidance associated with providing public comment as stated in our policy 1420. By remaining in the meeting, those present consent to being recorded and displayed in the footage that will be posted on the school district website. So with that, is there any public comment on a non-agenda item? Any public comment on non-agenda items? Brian?
Hey, Ryan Miller. Yeah, I just wanted to just draw quick attention. I was lucky enough to go to the superintendent's advisory meeting at 5:30 today, and Mr. Ayers shared with us some updates on legislation. I'm kind of a nerd for that kind of stuff. And there's two bills in particular that I'm very concerned about. One is, or there's more than one, but the two big bills that I'm tracking are one, taking public funds and diverting them to private schools. And it's a killer. And with that, we don't need to talk about hypotheticals. If you guys want to do research on your own, you can follow the state of Arizona. They've been doing this, and as well as the state of Idaho. And then the other big bill that is going through right now is that they're trying to raise the threshold to pass bonds or levies. And so instead of having a majority of the vote would pass, then they say you have to get some kind of 60% supermajority, or they affect it so that it's almost to an unreasonable or unreachable position. And again, you can look at Idaho right now. Their schools cannot pass bonds, cannot pass levies, and they're in dire. And it's sad. And so ultimately what happens right now is that the state legislature in Idaho, they've done this lump sum bill that will give out money to all of the school districts, but none of that money is enough to do any of their projects. And in order to do the project, then they would still have to pass the levy, which they cannot pass because they can't get a supermajority. I mean, it's just crippling. And so for our district here, overall, the taking money from public schools and putting it in private hands, like in Arizona, the number one benefiter of this is private schools. They have done very well, and they have grown in their capacity and in their number. And the number one loser in this whole thing is rural public schools. Right now, when you look at east of Billings, most of their schools don't even start the beginning of the year fully staffed. They're right on the cusp right now. And so to affect the funding that they get is going to be killer. And for me, it's sad because I'm from northeastern Montana, Highline, eastern Montana, and I don't know where those guys are at. I mean, there's evidence that this is not working for those people. And it's going to change for us then too, because we have a private school in our district. So we're somewhat rural, and we're also have a private school, which is a great school. And I'm not against private schools, but public school funding needs to go to public schools. And so please watch for it. It's going to be big.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else have any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, sir.
Consent agenda. It is recommended that the district approve the following items on the consent agenda: minutes, regular January 14, 2025, warrant list January 2025, payroll operational 102 days, and employment 2024-25. Leonard Bushfield, substitute teacher, Stephanie Bennett, pay, second adult education.
Anything that any of the board members would like to move off the consent agenda to be acted on separately? Anything? Not, is there a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? Sorry, moved and seconded. All in favor of the consent agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Keeping in the board action items, the first action is recommended that the district approve proposed 2025-2026 school calendar.
Okay, is there a motion to approve that recommendation? Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion on that.
We have some members of the calendar committee. I think Todd leads that committee.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions about it.
It looks real similar to the calendar.
It is almost identical to this year's calendar. Yeah, almost identical. And it was selected by 70% of the vote, this calendar was.
Anyone have any questions for Todd on the calendar presented? Not, any other discussion on that at all? All in favor of the motion to approve the school calendar as presented in second? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is recommended that the district approve the proposed 2024-2025 employment coaching contract renewal. We do just one at a time. Trey Dallas. Okay. Junior high head track coach.
A motion to accept that recommendation. Second discussion on that. Who's running that reading?
Yeah, really, not a whole lot to say other than, the feedback that I got from last year, and Trey was, involved in the program and doing a job. He expressed interest in coming back, and, so we're happy to have him back.
Any other questions for Mr. Parsegian or anyone on the motion? Seeing none, is it ready to vote? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Okay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Trey Dallas was accepted. Next one.
Amy Jones, junior high assistant track coach.
Motion to support that recommendation. Second. And second, and discussion on that.
Really the same thing, we had great feedback from Amy's role last year, and she also expressed interest in coming back. And so we have one position open within that junior high track program, but two returning here presented.
Any other discussion? Questions? In favor of the motion to approve Amy Jones as presented, say aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, it is recommended the district consider approval of the proposed 2024-2025 FP14 student attendance agreements for incoming elementary non-resident enrollment requests.
It's the elementary only.
So this is separate from that. This is well, I guess I can explain it.
Go ahead. Tell us a little bit before we can have a recommendation.
So this is a group of kids who is currently here and is moving, and then the others belong to a family that they would start immediately.
Oh, okay.
They're moving to Manhattan. We have a rental agreement beginning March.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve that recommendation? So. Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Anyone have any other questions? Any discussion? Then all in favor of the motion to approve the 2024 FP14 student attendance agreements for the incoming elementary as presented, say aye. 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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Item D, it is recommended that the district consider approval or denial of proposed 2025-2026 FP 14 student attendance agreements for incoming elementary and incoming high school non-resident enrollment requests. Possible executive session. There's executive session.
Okay, and how do I want to handle that? We want a motion first to approve this recommendation, and then we'll go into an executive session, or do we?
We probably deal with the recommendations for approval.
For the approved ones. Okay, let's do it that way then. Is there a motion then to accept the recommendation for the approval for the agreements that have been approved as presented? Okay, is there a second? Moved and seconded. Discussion on that. Give us some numbers, Mr. Harris, or whoever's got those.
Yeah, so, the list includes those applicants being recommended for approval in K-8 and 97.
Let's back up. We're gonna do this separately because we've got to do an elementary first. Let's just work on the elementary.
Yeah, okay,
So that's, will you amend your motions to be the elementary only? Okay, now, so we'll do that.
okay. So we have 97 K-8. Those applicants being recommended for denial in K or 0. Kindergarten applicants would be approved, so despite that, to the recommendation, it would be contingent upon space available after kindergarten screening, or even prior to. We'll know the Friday before kindergarten screening, which is the Friday before March board meeting. So we'll know at that time if there's room for them. So I guess what we just need to do is approve that in this number, understanding that if there's room, they'll be invited to kindergarten screening and go through that with everyone else. And if there's not room, they would be notified.
And then March, we can make the change or the addition on that then.
Or you don't have,
We wouldn't have to.
we wouldn't have to approve it now.
Based on,
They're in
if there's room, based on room. Everyone understand that? Any other discussion on the elementary? Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve that recommendation, say aye. 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 Motion carries.
It is recommended to approve those that have already been pre-approved by me for the high school.
Okay, is there a motion to support that recommendation? So second. Moved and seconded, same question. What do we got for numbers on that?
Those applicants being recommended for approval in high school are 19. We have one applicant being recommended for denial.
And we would vote, and we'll deal with that separately, but let's just work on the 19 that are approved right now. That's the ones that we're dealing with. Any other discussion on those? Any other discussion? All in favor of the high school application, supporting that recommendation for those approved, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, then at this time, we want to do that right now, don't we?
And I think, yeah, so there's a recommendation for denial, 9-12.
And based on students' right of privacy, we're going to be adjourning to an executive session to discuss that because that's been requested of us. So the public's right to know does not outweigh the students' individual right of privacy. So we'll be adjourning to an executive session. We'll reconvene back in here after that. Or going into your office. Okay. Okay, sounds good. We will. In my phone rings, that's her.